Good morning, Renny Doyle Podcast. Chris, how's it going?
It's going good. All things considered, I was just telling you that the air conditioner broke overnight, but it's supposed to be really hot today. But we'll get past it somehow. We always do, you know.
By comparison, we only live as a crow flies. We're probably what 110 miles,
100 miles, 115 miles away,
somewhere right in there. And by comparison, we had our heater on in the shop this morning at nearly 7,000 feet. And but it did get warm yesterday. It was a toasty 74, I think, up here yesterday.
Yeah, it was a toasty 100 plus here yesterday.
Yeah, 30 degrees difference down the hill. We sold the swirl salt truck. It's gone.
It's out of here. Do you miss it already?
No. The truck too badass. So no, yeah. Not too many cars that I miss. I miss specialty cars. The daily drivers. It's like the Subaru right now. I can't wait to get rid of it. I'm ready to go on to the next one. I figured out these people that do yearly leases. I know why.
Yeah, they like something new all the time.
And I mean, 9 months into it, I'm like, okay. That's what's nice about having the Porsche is we get, new Porsche every couple of weeks. That's not a bad deal,
Well, I've had my new to me Mini with me since last week, and it's been nice to drive that around. I zoomed around the valley already this morning, getting my son to school and back, and it was I have fun with it no matter where I'm at.
That's cool. Well, there are those cars. It's like even the little Boxster. I get in that. 20 years old. There's something about driving it, and the same with the Chevelle. It's just something about driving it. There's those cars that you never get tired of, but some modern day cars, I don't get tired of them. I dig them, but it's just like, it's change up. I don't know. It is what it is. So, hey, what do you got? What do you got on a shirt?
This is a BMW. I believe it's called a 3.0 CSL. It's known as it's kind of known as like the Batmobile. They have some really cool, fins and wings and stuff on them, but they're awesome race cars. I've seen this particular car race at Laguna Seca a number of times during the historics, and it's a beautiful car. So
have you ever been up there and some of those classics crash?
Yes.
It gets you sick.
Yeah. Anything worth they're all worth fixing. And there's a lot of people will argue, hey, they're not very original anymore at that point, but that's what you do with race cars, right? You race them, you rub a little bit, you crash a little bit, and then you fix them. And it's I think going back, it's hard for them to really determine how much of a car is original anyway. But as long as they've got that kind of pedigree and history, they're fine, no matter how many new parts they need. So
that's cool. Hey, before we dive too in, today is about knowledge is not power. And that's kind of an oxymoron for us because we talk about knowledge being power, but I've seen so much, especially, COVID, the political environment, the world environment, whatever the hell you want to call it. We were just texting with our team behind the scenes, and I said, I want to telepath back. I want a time machine back to 1976. It was the bicentennial. Everything was red, white, and blue. Matter of fact, you got to ask me what's on my shirt.
Oh yeah, what's on your shirt? I can't hardly see it though. But
We the People, 1776. And the reason I like this is I want to remind everybody that's thinking about this the other day. How old approximately, and not by, but how old is China, the country?
Oh geez. It's got to be way older than our country, that's for sure.
Thousands of years, right?
Thousands, right?
Yeah, thousands. So Japan, how old's Japan? Same thing, goes back thousands of years. Rome, all these different countries, Germany, England, all these different countries. I think we forget that we're 245 years old.
We're very young.
We're young, and I see what we're going through right now as kind of our pre-adolescence. We're just a kid that's a little bit out of whack and needs to. We're growing.
And terrible twos.
And so, I keep looking at what's going on, and that's part of it right now. I see so many people buying into the anger. And let me tell you, man, anger is cool. And I keep a watchful eye on everything in our society and our government. I don't like a lot of stuff that's going on, but man, we're still an infant country. And I'm not saying, hey, give us a break and let it go, because how many revolutions has France had? How many revolutions has Japan had? I watched a documentary on the Empire of Japan, and I mean, there was one time period of this one family that was like 200 years, that just this one family, and that they'd gone or the clan, I should say, is they'd taken over and kind of brought peace to Japan for the first time in 200 years. Well, Jesus, we're just a little older than that. That was just one segment of their history. And so I wore this today because it's like, man, I just keep thinking that we're young. Stop, And let me tell you, if you're an entrepreneur, you better take a deep breath, because all that anger is going to come out in the wrong ways, man. It's going to retard growth. It's going to do a lot of different things, and you might be killing it right now, dude. I mean, it's not hard to kill it right now. I mean, it really isn't. I mean, it takes work, right? But it's not a struggling time. And my fear is that a lot of these people that are going off the rails, listen, some of the people you listen to, they got a platform. They can go off the rails. It's not going to hurt them. Matter of fact, some play off that anger. Some play off that division. Some play off that opening your eyes to things. I'm not that person. I got to watch what I say. And most likely the people listening to this, you're not that person. You got to be careful, dude, because you don't know what's going to come down that could hurt you later. And they go back and they see things or conversations happen, and people whisper in other people's ears what was going on way back in 2020 and 2021, and now it's 2025, and your position's changed, and you got a new opportunity, and that opportunity fails because way back 4 or 5 years ago, you got angry. And I don't blame you for being angry, but spewing it is dangerous. You can do whatever you want. I'm not saying don't do it. I've checked out of a lot of this stuff. I've just checked out. But it comes down to this. So, hey, we want to thank P&S as usual. As a matter of fact, you can see my Swirl Killer coffee.
Yeah, what do you got there? Show everybody.
Yeah, so this is our Swirl Killer coffee. This is our traditional. We've also got a 60th anniversary. I've got my press out sitting right now, which one of our students gave us, and that thing is, man, I need to take and call him out. I've got a card. I've got to thank him. It's been months, but we want to thank him. And then I wanted to real quick before I dive in, because I'm going to get really involved. Is the Swirl Salt truck was a 2014, and we used it in the shop a lot. It went all over the country, seeing different events, to different projects and all this and that. So it had a little funk in it, And
well,
so
you let the students use it every time we had training, and that's a lot of different butts in the seat, and we know what butts do.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. So I put a couple days ago, I put an odor doc in there, and this is our Odo kit. It's really cool. It's all pre-measured. Your whole kit's down in there, instructions. But it made me think about smells, and this did such a great job. So I just wanted to take and bring that out. So, hey, you ready to jump in? So you're going to have to jump in.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump into this thing. I'm going to get a little worked up.
All right. Hey, real quick before you do, another quick fun fact about today before you go and enjoy your coffee. It's the first day of fall.
Well, that's why my heater had to come on in the shop this morning.
That's right.
It was cool. Oh, man, I love this time of year. This is my favorite time of year. It's awesome, especially up here. So hey, busy weekend for you. We had a busy week last week. We had students in. They were on the podcast with us. You were up here. Great class. It's always sad to come back in Monday and see him not here. But I drove all the way up to north of Sacramento from Southern California and then back, and man, that made for a long weekend. My poor friends that went with me, we had to haul Rip, my new battle buddies, back.
I did some deep cleaning on Saturday around here. So that I'm a Lego fan and that kind of stuff. So we have our fun, Legos on display here, not too many, but a handful. And they get a little dusty from time to time. And so I actually took them all outside to the garage and I used my steamer on them.
Oh, that's cool.
And it worked great.
Yeah, that's cool.
Anybody needs to detail their Legos, a little steam, and then follow that up with compressed air to dry them off, and they come out perfect.
I use steam on our shower and all the grout in the corners and stuff like that. I mean, steam on everything. Steam's one of those things. It's pretty badass, All right, so hey, let's talk about knowledge is not power. Let's qualify this a little bit. It is. Knowledge is power, but only when used and harnessed the right way. And I see a lot of people misusing or touting their knowledge. But let me start out with this. Each level, God, let me back up. I want to make sure I lead into the right way. When you treat life right and you have the right attitude and you don't go out and say stupid shit. And I say stupid shit, but I've gotten better at not saying really real dumb stuff as often, especially in a public, forum. But when you do that, opportunity hits you. We just had another opportunity. We've had 2 major opportunities land at our feet this week. Now, I don't know if what's going to happen with them, but they're opportunities. And each level that I've arrived at has taken specific skill sets to be able to mature to the level to succeed at those levels. You don't start out. I've got an analogy, and I'm gonna use it right now. So later in, I played football from the time I was a little kid all the way up until I even gave it a shot at the college level. Right. Each one of those levels, and a couple of really good friends of mine played in the NFL. At each one of those, all the way going back to Pee Wee football. Okay, we learned to walk, right, as baby. Then we learned so we crawled, we rocked, and then we running around. We're falling. Some people still walk and run like they did when they're 2. But in Pee Wee football, they teach you to run a little different. They teach you to block, throw, tackle, all these different things. And then when you get to middle school, it's a whole nother level up. And then when you get to high school, especially at a competitive level, they're teaching you how to run. When you get to college, they're teaching you how to run. When you get to the NFL, they're teaching you and coaching you how to run. At each one of those levels, you go from a little kid sport, pure passion, to making a living. They're coaching you on how to take and perform. Business is no different. You've got to take and prepare yourself for each level. And if you're in business, it doesn't mean you're at the NFL level yet. It means that maybe you're trying out. Is that just because you open a business doesn't mean you're that. I congratulate you for taking and having the cojones to take and open a business, but it's going to take a bit to start taking and actually succeeding. And so you got to start succeeding. And each level that you get to is going to demand, not ask for, not maybe, it's going to demand. And if you don't have the skill sets, you're not going to make it. Now, the foundation for all this is exactly the same. There's no difference in the foundation. Foundation is the same. But and one of the foundation is being professional. One of the other foundations is taking and learning how to learn and knowing when to learn. One of the foundation items is be coachable throughout your career, not in the beginning, not in the middle, not now, not in the stage I'm at, not at the end. It's all the way through. It's all the way through is you've got to be coachable. Coaches get coaching is because they've got peers. Is that you might listen to Andy, you might listen to all these different podcasters, Joe Rogan. Listen, man, when they get together is with other people, birds of a feather, they talk. They learn. They share. They don't get to the top and stop learning. That's why they're successful. Ed Milet, I love to listen to Ed Milet, man. You know what? He gets together and he's always giving Andy credit for different things that they do. They're constantly sending each other messages. They're constantly sharing things. They're constantly mind mapping things out. They're constantly dreaming. They're constantly saying, hey, what if? They don't.
The other thing they have in common too is that they're constantly, as they network together, they're surrounding themselves with like-minded people that are also successful people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, at some point in time, I just had a guy, and I think I've shared this once before, so sorry if I have. I just had somebody, I'm very proud of where I grew up, Colton, California, tough little town. I had somebody tell me on social media I lost my Colton, that my Colton's out of me because I left Colton. Well, that was the goal, man. I needed to move on, right? I love Colton. Would I move back there? I go back. I'm constantly there. Very proud of my heritage. But I moved on. I didn't leave it. I moved on. I moved past it. I love my people in Colton. I love where I grew up. I love, that it's many generations. I didn't lose my Colton. I didn't lose my Colton edge. I changed my Colton edge. I adapted. I couldn't act like I did when I lived in Colton when I was an adolescent. I couldn't get away with it. I wouldn't be anywhere. I would have been stuck on the same exact floor and the same exact elevator, not going up. I would have just sat there. So we hear this all the time. Knowledge is power. The more educated you are, the more you understand, the more you know, the more valuable you become. Chris, you've got a bachelor's degree. What's your degree in?
Business communications.
Business communications. So mine's a business, and then I've got a master's, believe it or not, in world faiths, so theology. And I did it because I started out as I love faith, and I love faiths, and I love different faiths. I love learning about them because it makes you patient with other people. But I love history. And so I started taking all those classes. And before I knew it, I was like, well, hey, I'm pretty close, so why not? Started out, okay, get this. How the hell did I transition from an MBA to a degree in world faith?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know.
I was following my passions. I kept taking classes that interest me. And before I know it, I went down a complete different path. Will I ever use that? Yeah, I think it's made me a much more reasonable person with a much wider bandwidth of people, because I understand their foundation. And that's what we're talking about now. So books, college, graduate school, trade school, specialized training, we're into this. Those are all important. But knowledge alone is not power. It's got to be linked up to everything else. There's street degrees, something that I call street degrees. Listen, and again, everybody thinks that you jump in and it's going to be your freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year. And in that year 5, you're into the big leagues. Not necessarily. Some people can be in their freshman year of business for 4, 5, 6, 7 years. We've talked about this a lot in the past. Some people excel a little faster, some a little slower. It really, looking back, I was successful at business in months. But I didn't really become, a full-fledged sophomore or junior probably until 7 or 8 years in. It took me a little longer. And the reason why is because my foundation, the way I grew up, my beliefs, my lack of belief in myself that I deserved it. I had 100% commitment that I was going to do it. I just deep down didn't think I deserved it. And that's part of knowledge and success right there.
Right.
I really like to see people get a combination of everybody saying college isn't needed anymore. I disagree. I think college is bullshit right now. I think if you're going to become a doctor and attorney, or you're going to be a CPA or something like that, that's one thing. You got to have a special degree, engineer. But if your goal is to be an entrepreneur, is that there's a lot of education that you can do. Mine was all online, 100%. I mean, I've taken classes in person, when I was younger, but I still take classes. I still learn, and distant learning, a lot of it's in person, a lot of it's online. And I really like the online version because it's portable. It's handy. But here's the deal, that if you think just your street degrees alone is going to pay for it, or your college education alone is going to pay the dues that to do, you're wrong. You listen, if you got street degrees, you might be a true warrior. But if you don't know finance, if you don't know numbers, if you don't know business, if you don't know marketing, know it, not, oh yeah, I put ads together. Hey man, there is a difference. What's working? Where are you? How rapidly are you growing? How are you exchanging your platform, your place in life? Are you constantly growing and moving ahead? Are you making your life easier, or do you keep struggling? Those are the things that you got to ask yourself. And if you keep struggling year after year after year, listen, the first 2, 3, 4 years is going to be a struggle. Some of you listen to this and say, man, I hardly struggled at all. It's coming. We've had a great economy. We're good. It's not. It's like riding a motorcycle. It's not if you're going to come off. It's when. Listen, you're going to face struggles. We've seen personal struggles in people's lives. So many people losing people they love right now, right? Those struggles could be a hurdle. Those struggles could be a speed bump. You never know when you're going to hit those struggles, and you better know how to get out of it. And a lot of people haven't been conditioned to be able to get out of it yet. Is that we've had easy times and they haven't hardened themselves. They haven't made themselves any smarter. Is that they think the gravy train, it's always going to be like this. I hope it does. But even if it does, how are you going to get past this point? And it's going to take a combination of knowledge and street degrees to get out of it. So a good technician versus an amazing entrepreneur. Personality. Your personality and the way that you bond with people, the way you connect with people is really important. It's hugely important. Is connectability.
I was actually thinking about that exact thing this morning. I was, when I drive my son to school, I go under this overpass at the freeway at the 101. And right now, man, it is a hot mess of homeless people and trash and garbage. And I was looking at it and I'm like, is there ever a possibility that I could find myself in that position? And I thought about it and I thought probably not, because I think what helps us stay out of situations like that and not get into trouble is our personalities. It opens up doors and opportunities for us.
Absolutely. Well, and for many of us, some people don't have these warning, signs. They don't get the little blinking light when they're in trouble. I've always had an early my ejection seat warning has gone off way too early in life. I could have been probably steps, leaps and bounds ahead of where I am right now, but for the conditions I grew up in, is that my aircraft was telling me, "Oh, man, your ejection seat's going. You're going out of this thing. Get out while you can." Mm-hmm. And that was a good thing, right? Because I didn't have a safety net. Even though I made massive mistakes, the fact that I survived those mistakes and wasn't homeless is a tribute to what you just said, is that it was my personality. I was able to work my way through it. And a lot of that was connectability with other people that allowed it, my ability to make connections with people, and then personality and persistence, those things right there. And so the relationships, the difference between a technician and a master entrepreneur is they know the value of relationships. Now, what I mean by that is not just building and getting to know people. It's not staining as you go. It's not implementing your views on other people. Where are we seeing that right now? All over social media. Everybody's bringing a hammer to the conversation. If somebody's got your ear and they're angry, get away from them right now. Get away from them. Anger has no place, and it's aging you, it's hurting you, and it's doing nothing for you. Somebody's feeding you bullshit. It might be truth, but it's turning into a pollution for tens of millions of people right now are polluted. They're absolutely I don't have any room for that. And, on the political side right now, I think, you and I have had a lot of conversations about what's going on, but if you've noticed, we've backed way off of that. I think both of us we just got tired of it. It's like time to go on with our lives and build up. And, we're watching what goes around us. I'm not blind to things. I've been around a long time. I just know that you got to watch things and don't allow yourself to get caught up in it, because it's going to wreck you. It's going to do nothing but it is a wrecking ball, and it's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt you bad. And then, into books. Anybody I know that is really, really, really growing as a person, as an entrepreneur, is into reading, whether it's Audible or fixed books. I got constantly. There is not a day. Well, there is. There's seldom a day. I'll say that. Seldom a day that I don't educate myself within a variety of things. Is I just had a major change in my life. something brand new to me that's not brand new, but new in 28 years, and really never to this level. And I want to tell you what it's done for me and for my business. The communications in my brain of having a new interest, it has sparked something I haven't felt in a while. And it sparked something, a love affair for this new thing. But it's got me excited about life and business. Like, really excited. Like, I wake up with a new purpose. At 50 freaking 5 years old, I've got a purpose like I haven't had in a bit. And I'm going to tell you, it's exciting. And I keep saying it over and over again, is that you've got to have an interest outside of business. I know grind it, all this bullshit 24/7 and all that crap. Listen, I get it. I know but you know what? You're going to burn out if that's all you think about. And I'm telling you, in 2 weeks, I have felt an energy from having a new outside interest that is going to change my life. It's going to change my family's life. It's going to, Chris, your life, because I am on fire right now. And I don't see that going away for a bit. And so I haven't changed up my own preaching. I had all my same little pockets that I did, for the last 30 years. And it's a shell game. I go from this interest. Ooh, that one's big. And it is. I mean, I've been very committed to my things. This is a search and rescue. 95% of the search and rescue that happens in the world is volunteer teams. I've been on that team for 30 plus years. And I've come in and out of it a little bit through the years, more serious, less serious. But let me tell you something, is that just having this new interest is taken and catapulted. Now your new interest could be learn how to play chess, which I highly recommend. It could be learning. It could be taking and starting to microbrew out of your garage. Whatever it is it changes lives. So each stage of success will take a new arsenal of skill sets. Is that you're never going to be able to take and use the same set of skill sets. They're foundational. There's the foundational skill sets. But what you're going to learn is that as you progress and as your platform changes, is that you're going to have to tweak even the skill sets that you've got at that new level. But here's the tricky part. You got to be able to go back down to the basement floor and use the skill sets you had at the basement floor at the same while you're at the 75th floor. You got to be able to
a really good basic example of that is, us detailers, whether we're mobile, we have a shop, as we slowly add services to our business, as our business grows, right? Mm-hmm. We have that same foundation to our business, but we add things like paint protection film, window tint, that kind of stuff. And we have to go get trained for that and continue to add that knowledge on top of that foundation we already had.
Absolutely.
And then of course, apply it and make it work for us.
And here's another one. Most of us are going to, at some point, engage in hiring help. You're going to have a whole separate skill set for people working with you and for you. Is that it takes a whole different mindset. A, you got to delegate. B, you got to be okay with delegating. C, is that you've got to be you've got to be professional. There's all these other things that come into it, that play into it that you're going to have. Another example is that when we're all young, is that in driver's education. When we're 15 here in the States. I wish we were like abroad. I wish we were like a lot of in Germany, where the demands to learn driving are much higher. They've probably got 50 to 100% more schooling involved in their driver's education. But here is that for a lot of us, driver's education stops when we get that license. There is no more. It's done. But yet, I've gone to race school. I've gone to track days. I've gone to all these different things. When I went through the Sheriff's Academy as a reserve deputy, I went through evasive driving. I went through all the spin on the wet course, all these different things to increase it. And you look at, I just lost a good friend of mine, man. Dave Ashley died. Have you been watching the videos I've been posting up?
I've seen some, yeah.
Yeah, the guy's a Hall of Fame Hall of Fame. He's one of the most winning off-road drivers of all time. We just lost him. Which last night was the night. It hit me. because it was officially released, that he had passed, and it was like, whoa. But, Dave went from is an amazing career for motorcycles straight into the heavyweights. But he raced. This is pretty cool, and I didn't know this. He worked on the Raptor project for Ford because he's with Ford. He raced the very first Raptor, in an off-road race. I mean, so he had that. But he went over. He also had the very first NASCAR Truck Series. He was the one, him and his team, basically invented an entire new category of racing, and he went from dirt to track. Mm-hmm. And the skill sets for that were very demanding, yet he was able to take and transition. But the truth is, your ability to apply knowledge you gain to make an impact in your life and on those around you is real power. Is making an impact is real power. So you've got to look at this. Is what you're gaining, is it going to make, again, that's why you only have so much time in a day. And I just want to caution you is that don't spend a lot of time looking at polishes. Don't spend a lot of time looking at new equipment. It's fun to look at those things. What you want to spend time for is feeding your brain knowledge. And you want it verifiable knowledge. You want it to where right now in business and in most industries, there's a lot of theories floating around. And in my life, I mean, we have things pop up it's new, right? We don't have a lot of theories anymore. We've got enough track records, we've got enough age, we've got enough diversity in age, all the way from entrepreneurs that are teenagers all the way up to 70 years old. That knowledge is valuable. That variation of knowledge is valuable. And so that real life experience knowledge is valuable. Listen, is that you take a person that is maybe battle ridden, is they're going to take, and they've been into battle. You take a person that was EMS, you take a person they're going to have something that most people don't have. And they can share that with you, is that there's all these different people you're going to come in contact with that you don't know what their experiences are. But if they're successful and they're at a level that you think is pretty cool and you admire, you need to stop, get eyes on them, get ears on them, and watch them, observe, and ask them to mentor you a little bit. Ask them questions, even if they're customers. Slow down and ask them. Don't bend there too much. Respect their time. Some won't mind. I mean, I had people who were major founders of major companies, billionaires, and I would sit there and smoke a cigar with them for an hour and just ask them questions. And it was amazing. But it started out slower with me just asking a subtle question, them seeing I was interested in it, and them wanting to pay it back and taking and teaching me. Knowledge is the most powerful when it's consistently applied. Listen, you can't, it's just like racing, is that there's a time to put the brakes on. When I've gone through track days and driving school, I was shocked at when you slam the brakes on, because I'm back here putting the brakes on, 100 yards back to go in this sharp corner. No, they're teaching you slam them on about 20 yards out hard, and then you're off the brake and onto the pretty much full pedal, coming out of the turn. It's amazing. And that's kind of like the skill sets in business. It's got to do the exact same thing. I can give you perfect information, perfect knowledge, but it won't change your behavior one single bit. Now, Chris, you added that part in, is that we always have something that we say, is that we say that we make suggestions, you make decisions.
Right.
Is that people, you are given knowledge, you can accept it, and you need to look at it, you need to verify it, and then you make the decision if you're going to use it or not. Most people do not have the ability to act on knowledge. They just act on foolishness. Right now, we're seeing a lot of that right now. We're seeing brilliant people that I have a lot of respect for that are really struggling, and they don't see it yet, and they're pinning themselves into a corner. They're going to be where they're at for a long time. And where they're at's a good spot. Maybe they're happy there. I've never been happy being in the same spot for very long. Is that even in our companies now, we're constantly on the move. We want to change things. is we want to take and grow. We don't want to grow in workload. We want to grow in things that are helpful, profitable, and don't demand more of us, and that we can delegate. All of us, our entire team, that's what we're involved in. Reasons why people don't act on knowledge. Let's go over this. This is a good list. So,
Yeah,
Chris,
I think so.
Any of these that you want to jump in on, please do. Most people ignore knowledge. They straight up ignore it, and they ignore facts. I'm going to add that one in. Facts are when you open your mouth and you start acting foolish, is that things are happening, but you're so foolish you don't see it or you don't realize it. But you're going to realize it too late. And, I've never been on that. I've always been woke up. I was slapped around. I think the difference between me and a lot of people that are going on right now was that when I was young and building, is that when I got slapped, I didn't get angry. I listened. I shut up. I went, oh, God, okay. Wasn't happy that I got slapped, so to say. But I was like, man, that person usually doesn't do that. And looking back at those times, it was a good wake-up call, and I listened to it. A lot of people don't believe it. The knowledge that's coming out, they don't believe. They don't understand it. And this is the scariest part, is they don't say anything when they don't understand it. They don't go any deeper than that, and they don't ask questions. They're too busy to act on it. Oh, I'm busy. I hate that word. They're too busy. I'm too busy. I'm too busy. I'm too busy. Before you know it, you're going to be in the same exact spot and going nowhere. This is one that really hit me, is my confidence. Is that I really limited myself on confidence, not the courage, but the confidence to move ahead. I honestly did not believe deep down that I deserved it. Some people don't have the courage. It scares them,
I think that's one of the biggest ones on this list, is that one. That holds people back the most.
It does.
Taking that leap to act on what they know.
It really does. People are terrified. Diane's not a big fan of heights. It's not the height, it's the fall that really bothers her. And so it in search and rescue, she wasn't going to be on the edge. She wasn't going to be the over the side team. Now did it hurt her? No, because she picked up different skill sets. But a lot of people, that courage is going to be a big one. A lot of people don't think they have the budget or the resources to do it. Of course you don't. I don't have the budget or the resource of what I want to do next, but I'm going to go figure out a way to do it. You're never going to have the budget or the resources to do it. You got to figure out a way to go do it. Simple as that. Where there's a will, there's a way. And so a lot of people just, they and I was one of those. I harnessed on to where am I going to have to do this? But every time I didn't have the courage to move ahead, I just decided, oh shit, go for it. And did I get hurt? Yeah. Did it kill me? No. Did it get bloody? I got scrapes. I survived. I didn't have any arterial bleeds that I couldn't control. Did it slow me down? Yeah, it also propelled me. So I mean, there's pluses and minuses to that. They don't have leadership skills. This can be changed by simply volunteering, believe it or not, into volunteer organizations. This can, SCORE. We've got an organization called SCORE, and it's executives that go in and help people gain knowledge and abilities. You can get into Toastmasters. You can get into your local chamber and learn what different true business entrepreneurs and educated people are doing. Watch their habits. There's so many things that you can do to build up your leadership skills.
Yeah, you could do like our friend Oscar up in Ventura with 805 Detail Shop does. He volunteers for Food Share, and I guarantee you that's gotten him some leadership experience.
Absolutely. Military, I mean, Oscar's, Marine, and, all that is, it all helps put into it. Even that, you can go, as I said earlier, volunteer for a search and rescue team. There's so many different things you can do to learn leadership, but it takes time, and you got to be patient. They don't have the ability. A lot of people don't collaborate with others. This is where I see a big problem. A lot of people don't collaborate. It's not that they don't collaborate. They want to control the conversation. They want to come in and join a club and be the club leadership right after they join. Is that collaborating with people means earning your spot. And earning your spot takes time. And you got to prove yourself. If you're not willing to do that in a group or in a club or in an industry, again, I go back, you're going to be stuck. You just don't see it. You're going to be stuck in the same position for a long time. You're going to limit where you're going. Listen, we've got opportunities that you can't. I had 2, like I said, this week. Still don't know where one came from. I'm like, where the hell did that come from? Chris is going, what the hell? Because you haven't heard about it yet. But I learned of both of them yesterday. On Tuesday, I mean, it's popping up, right? So this is a big one. I want you guys to listen to this. Is reasons people don't act on knowledge, or they restrict or retard their knowledge, is that they've got a chip on their shoulders from past life experiences. They might not even know it, but let me tell you, if you constantly have problems getting along with people, and you think, oh, that guy's been a jerk to me. Oh, that guy's being a jerk to me. Oh, I'm not getting accepted. Oh, I'm not doing this. Oh, I'm not. Guess what? It's not the other people. It's you. Have I been in that arena? Yep. I've had to self-check myself a lot, because I remember at a time that, and I haven't admitted this or even thought about it in 30 years, is I grew up in a period where they used the term yuppie. Remember yuppies? I don't know if it's still a term.
You don't hear it too much anymore.
No, I hated yuppies, because most of them were silver spoon, little babies that got stuff handed to them. And man, I had you could tell I could see somebody, and man, I just had an attitude. It was a chip on my shoulder, because, was I angry because I didn't get raised that way? No, the arrogance, Well, that was my chip. It wasn't their chip. It was my chip. Why the hell did I even think that way? That was the dumbest thing in the world. Thank God it was a short time of my life that I felt that way. So without the motivation, ability to apply all of this knowledge, all of these things, and here's the deal, be honest with yourself. Guess what you're doing? I'm going to go back to where you're restricting where you're going. You might be in a good spot. You might keep excelling where you're at. But if you want to take and super succeed, hyper succeed, is that if you got any of that going on, you better check it, because it's gonna stop you or eliminate you from moving ahead. So what kind of power are we talking about? The ability to influence people or events to accomplish your goals, find success, and live out your dreams. Is when we're taking and dealing with people, is that we are taking, and I never not like manipulation. I don't like manipulation. I like to take in and educate people. I like to take in, I always have. And it's a slow roll. I remember when I first went into business, is that I just refused to be a hard seller, a used car salesperson. Is that I wanted people buying what they needed and spending the money that they had, not overextending. I was very honest. And you know what? That cost me a lot in the beginning. But the foundation I built is that I left a lot of people in the dust that were doing it the other way. So it really, really,
by educating people, right? You are influencing them.
Absolutely.
And in turn, they're becoming say a fan or a champion of you at that point.
And that's a really important part of our journey. I can't tell. I've watched a lot of journeys. I watch a lot of journeys. We've got, how many people in our group that were watching their journey? How many people in the industry? How many people in other industries were involved in? How many people in the military? How many people in search and rescue? How many people in life? I rub elbows with entrepreneurs from every walk of life possible. I mean, every walk of life possible. And it's pretty cool to see the ones that have figured that exact approach out. Is you're being a solution, not a sale. They don't look at their customers as a sale. They look at it as an opportunity to be a solution to what their customers need. And that's really important. So this is some of the value part of it. We're gonna wrap up, but I want you guys to everybody to really listen to this, especially the last one. Earned versus gifted. Not gonna be gifted anything. You've maybe been lucky in the past. Maybe you're lucky right now, but at some point your luck's gonna run out. You got to be gifted. You got to work really, really hard to arrive, because 99% of us haven't seen your story before. We only see what we're seeing now. And so every time you change positions, you got to re-earn a little bit of respect from the people around you, your peers, your customers, all those people. You've got to earn it. And so I want you to think this. If you think about success as a ladder, every time your feet go to a new rung, you've got to earn a new level of respect. Simple as that. Your validated value, what's that mean? Is a top dog and a pack of amazing dogs. Is that, listen, if you're hanging out with a wolf pack and you come in and you're accepted into a wolf pack, which is what our industry is that you can't demand the top position. You got to earn that position, and you're going to be challenged to that position. And if you take and you respectfully work your way up, you'll get to that position. But if you try to take and fight your way through, the pack will kill you. You're trying to get something before it's time that you haven't earned. And even Mother Nature sees that, witnesses that, and is accustomed to that. So you got to make sure that you earn that. Now, this is the last thing I'm going to talk about is drama. We all see people that seem to just be in the middle of drama nonstop. They're constantly bringing drama into their life, into other people's lives. They're getting involved in other people's business, their business, that person's business, this person's business. They're all around in everybody else's business. And pretty soon, collectively, it all starts caving in on you. Is that, you know what? Run your own race, support the people around you, and stop bringing drama. If you're bringing drama and you're trying to poke the people in the eye to get a reaction, you don't even know it, but you've completely stunned your growth as an entrepreneur and as a person. You've completely stunned your growth. And instead of, when you see somebody make a mistake, is when somebody makes a mistake or they make a post, instead of going after them, even if it's a negative post, what is going on in that person's life where they feel like that? And how can I soothe the situation? That should be the answer. Not making it worse. If you get joy out of making it worse, there's something wrong with you. And I've been there. Let me own that, man. Back when in the early part of the 2000s, when forums were just getting started, I poked a lot of people in the eye. And you know what that did to me? It was a total waste of time, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of chaos, a lot of anger. It didn't last very long, but boy, I sure was glad when that ended. And you know who it was? Me. But it was what fed it. I'm seeing it go on right now. I watch it and I'm like, I know exactly what you're doing. You're not hiding anything from anybody. There's people that don't see it and just think, wow, he's being an asshole. No, you are purposely poking people in the eye to get a reaction. And it's complete and utter bullshit. It's completely not needed. It's a complete waste of time. And all you're doing is stunning where you're going. And you're hurting somebody in the meantime. Now, they might deserve it. They might be a complete asswipe. And they might deserve it. But what if you help change that person's opinion a little bit just by being, hey, man, don't necessarily agree with this post, but hey, I'm here if you need to talk. What a change in opinions. What a change in angles. And I'm telling you, professional. Every single industry's got this. Everything. But you can tell the minor league guys from the major league guys in an instant, and you can tell the minor league people that are going to never make it to the majors because they got the wrong knowledge going on and the wrong outlook and the wrong energy, and they're going to get stuck where they're at. All right. Hey, we want to thank everybody for coming in. So kind of different topic. I don't want people to think I'm scolding, because I'm not. Is what I'm doing is I'm teaching from experience. I've admitted a lot of these things. I used to do a lot of poking. Used to do a lot of flexing. Used to do a lot of this, a lot of that. We saw it. Almost everybody in the industry that I respect has done that. You know, Jim Gogan, I mention his name all the time. We watched all that shit. We partook in it. We were constantly Paja. Somebody ever want to know something? If you're in an event and you see me, come up and ask me about Paja, and I'll tell you a funny story. Or Jim Gogan, Paja, is that there's a really funny story on that about poking somebody's eye, and it was funny and it was no harm, but it was a complete waste of time looking back at it. So, Chris, we'll see you when we see you. Busy day ahead. Busy couple days. I got to call
the air conditioner guy.
You do? Yeah, you do. I've got to go.
They called me while we were on this.
Oh, geez. Wow, right on. All right, man. Well, hey, everybody have a lovely day, and hope you made an impact. Now, if you like this, please, hit like, hit the share button, make sure to subscribe to us. And again, anything that you want to hear about, topics and so forth, email me, renny@detailingsuccess.com. We'd love to take, and if there's a topic that you want to hear about specifically, just let us know, and we'd love to talk about it. So you guys take care. Have a wonderful day. Happy detailing all. We'll see you next time.